Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. How are you? Okay, uh, once again. All right, this is good today. How are you? How is everything? Welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. Today, we're continuing our series. Yeah, let me just do a quick check. Give me a second. Let me do a quick check round and make sure that we are live everywhere. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram. Um, Let me confirm that we are live on YouTube. Yeah, this is why okay, just no problem. YouTube is the one giving us stress today, but it's fine. It's fine, it's fine. Let me just see. Okay, we are live on YouTube. And let me see, we should also be live on LinkedIn. All right, so we are live everywhere. Welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on this journey of growth. How are you? How is your week going so far? Today is just Tuesday, the week just started. So, how is everything going with you? How was your weekend? I trust you had an awesome weekend. Um, yeah, just technology sometimes. Sometimes, really. So this is session 116. Yes, session 116 of Growth Habits with Ngozi. When I say this like 116, it's amazing to me that we are in 116th session of Growth Habits. It's really amazing to me. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. So this July, we are talking about relationships that grow you. That is habits for meaningful connections. That is what we are talking about generally in July. And we started by talking about your circle shapes you. The circle that you have, the circle of friends, the people that surround you, they shape you. Please let me know if you can hear me and you can hear me clearly. If you are connected, let me just do a sound check on Facebook. Okay, so Facebook has given me um, the answer I'm looking for. So yeah, we talked about your circle shapes you, and truly, your circle shapes you. The people you hang around will generally determine how things go with you. And we learned that it's essential for you to audit your relationships. We have to learn how to audit our relationships with intentionality. It's not just, by mistake. Sit down, take time, audit your relationships, figure out the people who are boosters to you, figure out the people who are, neither here nor there, and figure out the people who are drainers. And then reduce access to those drainers. Just reduce access. I'm not saying you should cut off anybody. I'm very clear about that because it's not always a matter of cutting off people. I don't believe in really cutting off people unless the person is completely a lost cause. But there are very few people who are completely lost causes. So I don't believe in cutting off people, but I believe they can reduce access to people. We can reduce access to people. So reduce access to the drainers, but increase access to those people that are boosters in your life. That was our first session in July. We talked about that your circle shapes you. And last week, we talked about the habit of intentional connection, being consistent in meaningful relationships. So it's not just being consistent in relationship, but the meaningful ones, you understand? Because some relationships, really, if we're being honest with ourselves, they're not really meaningful. So the idea is to be intentional and to be consistent in engaging with others. And you're doing this to deliberately build trust, alignment, and an emotional closeness to those people. This definitely requires time. It definitely requires your attention. It definitely requires your presence. Definitely. So it's not just proximity, like we said that last week. It's actually your present, you're being there, you're being available. So that was what we talked about. We said, you have to show up, you have to follow through, and you have to be emotionally available to whoever you're trying to create this relationship with. So those were the basic things we talked about in our past two sessions. Um, okay, I can see a couple of people joined on Instagram already. NGZZY 2020. Thank you for. Oh, no audio. Really? Is there audio now on Instagram? Hello? Yeah, yeah. I can hear I can hear the audio. So I wonder why you are not hearing me. Official Mercy Mike, thank you for joining me on Instagram. Glad to have you on Facebook. Okay, I can't tell who is here, but somebody is there. I can't see the name of the person. Thank you for joining me. So glad you are here. Okay. All right. So that was a quick review. And that was a quick review of what we have done so far in this July. And in moving on to the topic for today, the topic of today is we want to talk about boundaries, and we're talking about building bridges and not walls. Because many times when we think of boundaries, we think of walls, but boundaries are not walls. They are not walls. So they are just okay. Well, as I go on, you will I will define boundaries and all that. Because boundaries is a way for us to stay connected to people without losing ourselves in the process. Because it's so easy to lose yourself in the process of connecting to people. But boundaries help you maintain the connection without losing yourself. So we're talking about boundaries, building bridges, and not walls. Boundaries should never be walls. You know, boundaries are not barriers also for us to, not love. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be something that prevents us from loving. No, they are bridges. Boundaries, they are bridges, and they help us um, preserve dignity. They help us preserve trust in a relationship and emotional safety for us. Usually, boundaries are set up for your own good, really. Yes, the other person that the boundaries are, when I say against, are for, let me not say against because it's not against. The people that you're setting up these boundaries for, they benefit from it, but many a times they don't realize it initially. They think, um, they think that you're trying to um, be against them, but it is not, truly. It is not. Please, once again, once you join, do let me know. Say hello, say something, so that I will know that you are there. Um, even as you watch the replay, do let me know that you are there. Let me know that you are watching, because sometimes When I see the number of replays of my videos and I compare to the comments, there is a great disparity. A great disparity because I people watch the replays, but they don't make a single comment. So please just hello is enough. Just say hello so that I know that you are there. So if you're joining me live, say hello so that I can also greet you. Um, if you're watching the replay, say hello. I can also respond, yes, and say hello back to you. So we're talking about boundaries once again. And boundaries, the idea of boundaries is to protect relationships. That is the idea of boundaries, and it protects relationships from resentment, um, burnout, uh, emotional erosion. Yeah, I think there's something like that. Emotional erosion. So when you do boundaries right, when you set up boundaries properly, you don't push people away with boundaries when they are done, but you do have healthier interactions with people when boundaries are done properly. Now, let me say this before I go on because sometimes you might think because I'm the one doing this talk, I've mastered boundaries. I have not. I have not. I am still working on establishing boundaries in a lot of relationships because it is not easy. If anybody tells you it's easy to establish boundaries, it is not. It's a difficult thing to do because it's easy to misunderstand boundaries. It's easy for the persons you're establishing the boundaries for to misunderstand what you're trying to do. It's easy for them to take it like an offense. It's very easy, but boundaries are essential. They are very, very essential, and we must establish them in our relationships. For those relationships to actually thrive, honestly, when we don't establish boundaries in relationship, what we find is that the relationship is just what's the word I want to use? It's just there. It's not actually thriving because I really don't think any relationship that doesn't have any boundaries can truly thrive. It is a fake thriving if there is any at all. It's not real. There needs to be boundaries. There must be some kind of boundary. Okay. Having said all that, what are really boundaries by definition? By definition, they say boundaries are invisible lines that define where you end and someone else begins. Honestly, I love this definition. That's why I said I will read it verbatim. I will not add, I will not put it in my own words. It says boundaries are invisible lines that define where you end and someone else begins. And these lines are emotionally, physically, spiritually, or relationally, where you end and someone else begins. Those are boundaries. You know that in geography, boundaries determine where this country ends and the next nation begins. Those are the boundaries. So even for you, boundaries are those invisible lines that define where you end and someone else begins emotionally, physically, spiritually, relationally, whatever other alley you want to add there, those are boundaries. But one thing about boundaries, they're invisible, but they have to be made known. If you don't tell me your boundaries and I cross them, you really can't blame me because you didn't make it known. So you do have to make the boundaries known. It's not enough to establish boundaries and then you don't tell people what the boundaries are. You can't hold me responsible for crossing a boundary I didn't know existed because boundaries are what? Invisible. They're invisible lines, but they have to be communicated. They must be communicated for them to be very effective. must be communicated. So, um, what are the different types of boundaries that can exist? Please bear with me. My voice is a bit wonky today because I don't know. I didn't have the best of sleep, so somehow I'm tired. I'm awake, but I'm tired. And so if my voice is sounding a little bit wonky. Just that is the tiredness. It's the tiredness that is affecting the voice. Okay, so types of boundaries. We have mental boundaries. And mental boundaries are boundaries that we establish that respect um, the different thoughts, different values of others. We are not all the same. We don't all see things the same. We don't all believe the same things. But in dealing with people, there has to be boundaries in relation to these our different thoughts, in relation to these our different values. For example, I'm a Christian. In dealing with me, there must be boundaries because definitely I won't think the same thoughts as someone that is not a they are our values are different. And for our relationship to work, if I must be in any relationship with someone that does not have the same values as I do, there must be boundaries to that relationship. So the boundaries can be in the area of respecting the person's thoughts and the person's values. This does not mean that I now, as a Christian, for example, condone sin, because that is where we will go quickly. That is where our thoughts and our minds will go. That is not what it means. It means that okay, yes, you are not a Christian, so there are some things I cannot expect from you truly. And in relating with you, I have to understand that there are lines that shouldn't be crossed because I understand your thoughts, because I understand your values. This honestly is essential when we're dealing with people or dealing with human beings. It's essential that we understand people's values, and it's essential that we make our values known to people. Because remember that any boundary that's not communicated really cannot stand. So make your values known so that the boundaries of how you relate will be known and established. Okay. Oh, okay, Favor, I can see you on Facebook. You're welcome. Thank you for joining this afternoon. Um, yeah, you asked some questions, Favor. I think I responded some to those questions, but remind me, I will still say one or two things about the questions that you asked on the video that I posted on Monday. That is yesterday, right? Yes, yesterday. So remind me, Favor, so that I will still say one or two things about those questions that you raised. Then the emotional boundaries, we talk about mental first. The emotional boundaries. That is managing how available you are emotionally. This is a tough one, even for me. This is a tough one. How emotionally available I am to people. I'm learning. I have not learned. I can't even claim to. I am learning to reduce my emotional investment in people. One, that my emotional investment cannot be the same for everyone. It really can't be, first of all. And secondly, even the one that I am investing, I need to know how to manage it because everybody cannot have access to my full range of emotions. There are some people that some emotions are wasted on. Sorry. There are some people that reacting to what they do or what they say is a waste of emotion because Tomorrow they will do the same thing. So we need to learn. Like I said, I'm learning this as I'm saying it. We need to learn to manage how emotionally we are available to people. See these people that are wasters, drainers. You don't have to be emotionally 100% emotionally available to anybody that your audit to figure out this person is a trainer. There's no need. It is not of any benefit to you to invest your full emotion. So, emotional boundaries, managing your emotional availability to people. We have time boundaries. That's deciding how you use your time and your energy. These are time boundaries. I mean, we call it time management a lot of times, but deciding how you use your time, how you use your energy, where you put your energy and your time, these are boundaries that you can establish. And you have verbal boundaries, saying no. That one, saying no. And then enforcing limits to people's accessibility to you. Hmm. See this saying no matter. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. I'm one person that can say yes for everything. Once you need my help, yes. Once you need something and I have the capability somewhere, yes. Whether it's financial, whether it's even my presence, my time, yes. I find it so difficult to tell people no, very difficult. And what began to happen is that I found myself burning out emotionally. As not even just physical burnout. I don't want to look at the physical burnout yet of always being available to people. But emotionally, I was burning out. I was My emotional reserve was becoming zero. I couldn't find at a point, I couldn't find emotions anymore to invest because I was exhausted. From always being yes. I was exhausted from always being emotionally available. Remember emotional availability to just about everybody. So I had to learn to say no. I still struggle with it. If I even say I learned, I'm still struggling with saying no because there are still things that people will ask that I should say no to this for my well-being, and I still go ahead and say yes. So saying no is a boundary many of us need to establish. Learning how to say no without, hurting the person in the process of saying the no, because that's the problem. Many a times it's not just saying no that's our problem, it's how we say it. So learning how to say no without hurting the person involved, hard, difficult, but doable. Another type of boundary that we can establish is digital boundary. This is because our life now is online. Our life is online, but we need to be able to establish digital boundaries, choosing how we engage online. There are a lot of all these trends, all these things people do online, and someone was trying to get me to follow one trend or the other, and I said no. I am careful how I engage online. Oh, you see me every day. I post one message or the other. I post, but can you truly say, aside from those things, I post any other? I don't. I really don't. Someone's like, then you can't go viral. I'm like, please hold your virality. That's what it takes. Because I can't put my whole life online. I can't. I can't. So choose how you engage online for your mental health, if for nothing else. because there are people that their job is to sit online and finish your life for you if you give them the opportunity, even if it's just by their comments. So why expose yourself? Managing emotional availability has communicate. Why expose yourself to that? So choose how you engage. Choose how you engage online. It's nobody's business. The day you will go viral, you will go viral. Let me tell you. I remember my mentor, Pastor Favor. Um, was it last month or 2 months ago? I'm trying to remember when this happened. She had a program and she posted a snippet from that program, just to encourage people that this is what happened in this program, so that you will know, and possibly the next one you will join. And this snippet went viral. Hmm. One of these blogs picked it up, you know, used it to do these commentary things that they do, and social media blew up. On TikTok, she had from, I don't know whether from 1,000 followers to whether 20,000 or something overnight on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. She did not have to put her whole life online to do that. She didn't. So choose how you engage online. Choose how you engage. Boundaries are essential. There's a quote I also saw. Let me just read that quote to us. It says, boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and be simultaneously. I said the quotes I saw while studying for this one, all of them are really new. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. So it's the boundaries we put in place that will help us love ourselves and others simultaneously. Because it's not easy to do that. It isn't. It's not. Okay. Most times when the scale skews to one side or the other, either you're loving yourself and you're not showing love to others, or you're showing so much love to others because you're trying to please everyone, and then you're displeasing yourself. Boundaries, what gives you that happy medium between pleasing yourself, pleasing others, loving yourself, loving others. The happy medium called boundaries. Establish them, make them known. Boundaries that are not communicated don't exist. They don't exist. They must be communicated. There's some research I saw online about boundaries, and let me just share a few of them. As Favor says, her life on a quarter, yes, girl. Can't say no, can't say no, and not just too bad. I'm going, no, yes, yes, it's initially even myself when I was beginning to learn to say no, I always felt bad when I told somebody no. I always felt bad. But later I came to realize that it's not about the person feeling bad or not. It's about me being able to have some kind of balance in my life. It's me being able to also survive. Yes, whatever it is you needed from me is for your good, not of my own good. What is my own good? Who is looking out for my own good? So I have to look out for my own good. I have to look out for my own good. So um in time, it gets a little easier to say no without feeling bad. But initially you will feel bad. You will feel bad. So it's not there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the process. You will feel bad initially. But when you understand why you're establishing the boundaries, when you see that this is to prevent burnout for you, this is to even improve that relationship with that person. Because I found that when you do establish boundaries with people and you sustain those boundaries, the relationships get better. They actually do. So understand that and let that guide the setting up of boundaries. I was saying that I saw some research, Psychology Today in 2023 found that people with well-defined boundaries report 42% higher life satisfaction and 30% less relational stress. 42% higher life satisfaction and 30% less relational stress. Honestly, boundaries take years. They add years, they don't take, so they add years to your life. I'm telling you, they add years because the emotional energy would have expended on three, four, five, six, seven, eight people is reduced. So establish boundaries. Then another research, Renee Brown did a research and she said that what she found was that the most compassionate people are also the most boundaried. The most compassionate people are also the most boundaried. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. You set those boundaries, establish them. See, when you even want to set the boundaries, what I would set as boundaries or might not be the same that you would need to set. It's personal to you. You know what is taking away your peace. You know what is troubling you, and that is where you will set the boundaries. I will give us some ideas, but it's a deeply personal thing, deeply personal. Only you knows the boundaries you will establish. Okay. Um. Uh-huh. I was just thinking about this as I was studying, trying to do some research on these boundaries, and I realized that God set boundaries. Jesus set boundaries. So why are we finding it difficult? And we think, especially as Christians, we think that when we set boundaries, there's something wrong. But God Himself said boundaries. Yeah. If He told us one, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That is boundary setting. Then we're also told in the Bible that Jesus withdrew sometimes to pray. Personal and spiritual boundary. He withdrew sometimes away from the crowd, away from the noise. Yeah, people really, if you think about it, some people may have seen that as who does he think he is? Why is he going away by himself? Oh, okay, so we are not good company or things like that. He did it on his own. He withdrew from the crowd to pray. Boundaries, boundaries. Okay. Um, then, well, yeah, I think this is in the Bible now. To trying to remember where Jesus said he did not entrust himself, did not give his heart over to everyone. That is what boundaries is. That is the emotional boundary we're talking about. You know, we talked about um, managing your emotional availability. Even Jesus managed his own emotional availability. He did not give himself to all men. He didn't. If he managed and established boundaries, why won't we? Why won't we? Okay. Now, how do we set these boundaries? Because I mean, it's one thing to be talking boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. How do you set them? How do you set these boundaries? The first and most important thing about setting boundaries is to know your values. What are you actually protecting? Because remember, boundaries are to protect, they're not walls. They are bridges, yes, to make relationships better. But the idea is to protect your peace, protect your joy. So know what are your values? What are you protecting? What values are you trying to protect? That way? You know them really. We think we do. We actually think we do until a question like this comes. And we realize that we don't know the values we are trying to protect. So know your values. That is the first step in setting boundaries. Know your values. So that it's not just you being, emotionally unavailable, full stop. So that it's not just you being kind of a mean person. What values are you really trying to protect? What are your values? What are they? You really know them. So, excuse me, step one in setting boundaries is know your what are you really protect. Once you have known these, communicate these boundaries. But see, you must communicate your boundaries kindly but clearly. This is for me, the hard part about boundaries, communicating them kindly but clearly. This is the hard part. How do you tell people that, they're stepping on your toes or they're getting, too close for comfort? How do you tell people that without being mean? So, it takes work. It takes work to be able to communicate kindly, clearly. One thing that I've heard works, and I think it really does work as I think about it, is using I statements. Instead of saying you did this as you're talking to the person, you're trying to establish boundaries with somebody. Say, I felt this way when you did that. So you're putting the responsibility on you. I felt, and because I felt, I need to do so and so. Because when you tell people you did something, it becomes defensive. But when you say I, generally people will be like, well, it's our problem, yes, but since she is the one that is, needing this space, it's actually more considerable to people than when you point the finger at them. So use I statements. Despite it work quite well, use I statements instead of you statements. Then be consistent. You don't establish a boundary today and tomorrow you allow that boundary to be crossed. Follow through. Follow through consistently. Say what you mean and mean what you say. When it comes to boundaries, if you give room for the boundaries to be crossed often, they become useless. So follow through consistently. Remember, know the values they are trying to protect, or know them well, know them, understand them, then communicate them. Any boundary that is not communicated does not exist. Doesn't exist. So communicate kindly but clearly. Don't be vague in what you're trying to say. Don't be vague. Don't be vague in what you're trying to say. Um, Maybe for example, a friend calls you, let's go out or something, and you really want to rest, because your body needs the rest, and simply tell the person, I need maybe today, let's say it was on a Sunday that she wants to go out, I really need my Sundays for rest. I really need my Sundays for rest. Can we catch up on another day? You give another day. See, now you have established that you need rest. It's not that the person is troubling you now. Yes, yeah. This is the difference, because you could have said, You're disturbing my life." But no, you said, "I need this day for rest." Then give another person, "Can we give some other day?" So now you have once you have said you need your Sundays for rest, for example, now you have to ensure that one Sundays, Sundays on different occasions, you don't violate this. You need your Sundays for rest. Consistency. Remember, consistency. I remember when I was working, I've told this story severally. I would work late into the night. One particular job, I would work late into the night trying to, get things done. 11 p.m. I'm still sitting on my laptop in the parlor trying to work some things out. And one day, I think my husband came out and saw me still busy on the computer. He didn't say anything that would be started. He said, "What are you still doing here?" He just looked at me and went back inside. But that was enough to reset my brain. That was enough to reset my brain. And I made up my mind that yes, he didn't say anything, but even that silence, where am I even putting this man through this? You understand? Made up my mind that day that I value my private time with my. This was something that when my children were small, I established clearly. Once work is over, work is over. When I come home, I have to stay with my children. But as the children left, it was just me and my husband, I began to, allow that boundary to elapse to the extent that I will be sitting and working till the night. And I know that even those early days, I used to go and ask my husband for my bringing work home because I felt we have to establish some clear boundaries between work and home. So work ends, you leave work things in the office, and you come home and you fix home things. So don't bring work home. This doesn't mean that maybe once in a while is absolutely essential that you not bring work home, but I had established the boundaries, but I was not consistent. So this day, after he came out and looked at me still working um, that night, and went back in, my brain really did a quick reset, and I was like, "How is it that you're still? I mean, this is 11 p.m. and you are working home?" So I made up my mind. This has to end. The problem now became, how do I tell my boss that's causing a problem? So I called him because now, one, see, I've known what I'm valuing, family time. This is what I'm trying to protect, family time. I've known it, I've understood it at this point, and I needed to now communicate it kindly and clearly. Sorry, I can see you on Instagram, Robot, EK Robot Art. Thank you for joining me, and good afternoon to you too. So, I had to make that call. I called my boss and I would text her, please, I would like to discuss something with you, of course. I said, I've noticed recently that I, once again, I didn't make it about him, I made it about myself. I said, I've noticed recently that I work late into the night. And I had agreed with my husband that family time is family time, that we will not mix up family time and work. So going forward, I would appreciate if whatever work you would have for me is given to me and I have the opportunity to conclude it during official time, because I do not want to encroach on my family time more than is necessary. This is how I put it. I do not want to encroach. I remember everything is I encroach on my family time more than necessary, because taking work home is beginning to encroach on my family time. Initially, he was like, well, he was like, what do you mean? Does it mean I cannot tell if I have something? Yes, I'm not saying there's a need for an emergency or that there's something that really, really needs to get done. No problem. But it has to be the exception. That's what I'm saying. But all I'm saying that my taking work home and working late into the night needs to be the exception, not the rule. Because I do not want to encroach on my family time. Yes, it didn't take it just like that, but I was consistent. I was consistent. Anytime anything would make me take work home, we would look at it. I would look at, let me never say we, I would look at it very well and see how this can be amended and adjusted so that I finish it in the office. I would go in earlier. I didn't mind going a little earlier to keep that work. Then I set up my laptop, because I would sit down, plan out the work that I have, establish that I will dedicate, like 2 hours non-stop work, non-stop. Then take 20 minutes break, come back. I sat down and established these things so that one, he's seeing that work is getting done. Work is getting done. I am not slacking on my duties, but I am not taking work home. So communicate kindly and clearly. Follow through consistently. Then the next thing is embrace discomfort. It's okay if people feel disappointed. It's okay for people to feel disappointed because you established some boundaries or introduced some boundaries. It's okay, they can feel disappointed. As long as you understand clearly what you are protecting. One, and you communicated clearly, embrace the discomfort. Take it. Like I said, my boss did not just accept it. Oh, no problem, Ngozi. No, he didn't. He felt I was trying to dodge work initially. He felt I was trying to um, be too restrictive. He was even saying, you're in management level. Management cannot stop work by 5. In my head, I'm like, yes, they can, but I wasn't going to tell him that anyway. But I went the extra mile to ensure that I am leaving work on the I'm not leaving work undone. No. But at the same time, I am not making it a norm to take work home. I would only take work home when it is absolutely necessary. And I stuck with that till I left there. So embrace the discomfort, because there will be some discomfort. There will be. There is no way there will not be any discomfort that comes with establishing and putting down boundaries. There will be. So establish it. Then finally, honor others also. Even as you're establishing your own, ensure that you are honoring the boundaries of others, because respect, as they say, is mutual. Don't be a stickler for people. keeping to the boundaries you establish when you constantly invade other people's boundaries, invade other people's privacy. No, it doesn't work that way. So um, when you do these things, it, you would have set and establish some boundaries, and these will be the boundaries that will build up connections, not the one that will tear down, connections. Know your values, communicate kindly and clearly, follow through consistently, embrace discomfort, honor others' boundaries. Okay. Um, Now, okay, I think I want to quickly, before I close for the day, let me go to the questions that Favor asks on my video. I think I wrote them down. Let me okay, yes, yes. Um, she said she asked what defines a healthy boundary? That was one of the questions she asked. And I believe that a healthy boundary is a personal limit that you set that protects your peace, preserves your energy, and honors your values. That is a healthy boundary. You can see that all of this has to do with you. And from the beginning, I said that what might be a healthy boundary for me might not be for you. It's deeply personal. Boundaries are personal. So a healthy boundary is a personal limit that you have set to protect your peace, to preserve your ethics, to honor your values. So the healthy boundary defines what is okay and what is not okay for your emotional, for your mental, and your physical well-being sometimes. So you see, it is deeply personal. So there is no one size fits all for what is the healthy boundary. It depends on you. Then the next question she asked was, how do I set healthy boundaries that fit me and support my mental health? Um, what are your needs? So just like I said, know your values. What are your needs? Ask yourself, what drains, what do I need to feel safe in this situation, to feel respected, feel supported in this situation? So reflect on your needs. What drains you? What do you need to feel safe, supported? Then start small, specific. You don't have to. Um, it could even be just as simple as saying, um, "Can you give me a moment? Excuse me." When you're feeling overwhelmed, just give me a moment. That is even a boundary. Start with that. Really start with that, and then work, improve on it, and then expand it. You can just start with just that. I need a moment. Start small, start specific. Of course, I said it before. Use I statements. I mentioned this as I was talking. I feel overwhelmed when, for example, change plans quickly. I feel overwhelmed when generally plans change quickly. I feel personally overwhelmed. So I do need some advance notice so that I can feel prepared. You see, the whole thing is I feel overwhelmed when plans change quickly or suddenly or unexpectedly. And I need some advance notice so that I feel prepared. So this is like an example of an I statement that you can use in establishing boundaries and of course stay consistent. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. Is when a boundary is consistently enforced. that boundary sticks. If you are not consistent, it will not stick. So stay consistent with your boundaries. The next question she asked, how do I set boundaries and not feel guilty or wrong? Like I said, embrace it. There usually will be guilt. Um, People will not always react well to the boundaries that you set, but understand that you're setting these boundaries, you're trying to protect yourself. Understand that you're setting these boundaries as a way of as a form of self-respect, as a form of self-care. That is why you're setting these boundaries. In this way, I also tell yourself you're not rejecting the person per se. You're not rejecting the person. You're just trying to protect your own peace. You're just trying to protect your own peace and setting boundaries. Um, and you're saying no to the things that drain you. If you can understand these things yourself, it will help you not feel so guilty, so wrong. She now asked, when someone repeatedly breaks promises and apologizes, what do I believe? Believe their patterns. Honestly, forget about what they're saying. Believe their patterns. That thing they keep doing, that is them. That is them. Believe the words that they are saying. Because any apology that does not come along with behavior is just, it's not progress. So if they're not changing their behavior and they're just offering up apology, believe that they are whatever that thing they are doing, that is them. That's the real them. The apology is words. Because truly an apology is meant to come with change behavior. So that's what to believe. Her next question, how do I set a boundary without making them feel cut off or avoided? Once again, be clear and be what's the word I'm looking for now? Um be clear with your boundaries, with what you're saying, and be kind. I think that's the only other word I can think of. Be kind. Don't just, um, you can say things like, you know, I'm trying to think of something that would fit in well in this. Like you have to be clear and you have to be kind first and foremost. Um, and tells the person, okay, I still value our relationship, I still value you as a friend, and it's because I value you as a friend that I have to be honest with you. And then whatever it is that they're doing wrong, you mention it, and then you mention how whatever it is they're doing wrong is, and you reinforce the fact that you're still there for them. They have not abandoned them, they're not planning to abandon them. No, but in this area, whatever it is they are doing is affecting you. Clear, kind. Be clear. Excuse me, don't leave room for ambiguity in explaining your boundaries. Be as clear as possible. Okay, so is that all? Oh yes, actually that was all the questions she raised, that comment that she made. So Favour, I hope I answered all your questions. I want to believe so. So in concluding our discourse today, boundaries are not meant to be walls that will shut people out. meant to be bridges that show people how to meet with you respectfully. That's what we mean when we say that boundaries are bridges. They show people how to meet with you respectfully. They show people how to meet with you without conflict as much as possible. So it is very much powerful and use that word for you to protect your peace. It's accepted. Even if people don't understand it, it is you do we all need to protect our peace. We all need it. I need to protect my peace, and so do you. So it's essential, really, that we establish boundaries. It's essential that we do it kindly. And please remember, see, I have to repeat this. I don't even know why, but any boundary that is not communicated doesn't exist. You have to communicate the boundaries. You can't expect me to keep to a rule or a law that I'm not about. For example, if I cross a boundary that you established and I don't know that that boundary exists, you can't really hold me responsible because I didn't know. Because boundaries are personal. That is why this can. If you was like, they're all the same, then you say I must know. Something that is a boundary that is crossing boundaries for me might not be for you. For you, it's one of those things. It doesn't really bother you. For me, it is an issue. We have to communicate boundaries. If we don't communicate them, we can't expect people to maintain them. So going forward for this week, set one healthy boundary this week. Communicate it with clarity, communicate it with compassion to whoever you're trying to establish that boundary with. Just one. Start with one. As you start with one and you're consistent in that one, then you can set others. And remember that to set this boundary, you have to know what you're trying to know what your values are, and what you're trying to. All right. I apologize for yawning, like I explained to us a bit. I didn't have the best sleep last night, so I'm a little bit tired today. Little bit tired. So I think with this, we have come to the end of this session on boundaries. We're talking about relationships in this July. We're talking about relationships that build us, and the boundaries are essential. Boundaries are essential in establishing these relationships that will build us up. Remember, the boundaries are the bridge that shows people how to relate with you respectfully. They are not walls. They are not walls you put up to prevent people from coming in. No, they are the bridges that show them how to relate with you respectfully. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. If you're watching on the replay, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Oh, I can see Uzo is just joining on Instagram. Uzo Koli, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So we are already rounding up. We'll watch the on the internet to watch the replay so I can see that. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate that you spend this 1 hour every Tuesday with me on this course. So that is actually what we are doing. We're discussing. We're discussing. I'm trying to find. I thought this was. Uh, I thought it was part of my notes, but clearly it is not. Our topic for next week before we move on to something else. Okay. Oh, okay. So next week we're going to be talking about letting go with grace. You know, this why I've told you that it's not about cutting people off when we're talking about relationships, but there are times when you need to let go, when we need to prune relationships. So that is what we're going to talk about next. And then we move on to something else for the month of August and September. Okay, so thank you once again for joining me today on Growth Habits with Ngozi. Remember to make today and every day count. Be valuable and ensure that you are always growing. Ensure that you are always growing. Don't ever. Oh, I didn't see your question on Facebook. So what happened? I'm still I can't see your question. You can repeat the question. I don't know why I can't see the question. That is interesting. Not showing. Okay, let me refresh the Facebook. Maybe that's why. Let me see if I can see your question so that I can answer it. I still can't see your question, Uzo, but please put the question again on Instagram. Let me see. Okay, Favor says on Facebook, I have work to do. Okay, you say, yes, ma'am, your words are crisp like chips and clear like crystal. I got everything you said, and I'll replay this clip to internalize all you said. That's awesome. Okay, she said she will do. All right, that's great. Favor, thank you so much. You're one person that is always very active. So I still can't see your question. I really don't know why. Let me just refresh once again and see if it will show. It is not showing, so maybe put it here. Okay, setting bound and people thinking that you're over. Yeah, like I said, embrace that discomfort. People will definitely think one thing or the other. They will. That is for sure. They will think one thing or the other. But one thing I know is that in time they will understand. In time they will understand. So okay, it's like I don't know why I can't see that question. Facebook was trying to point the question on Facebook to me, but I can't see it. I really don't know why. Oh, okay, now I can see it. So sorry. It says, when you say I felt this way as a result of what someone did, it comes back to you as being oversensitive. So how do you go about it without coming across as this? Generally, when you phrase the comment or the boundary you're trying to set, as in I, yes, people can begin to look at it as you're being overly sensitive. Yes. But as I said, embrace it. Embrace it. Embrace it. It will happen. Know that it will happen. And then, but when they see that you're consistent, this is where the consistency comes in. When they see that you're consistent over time, you maintain these boundaries, they will generally understand. And also, when Okay, like I gave the example when I told my boss that I will not be taking work home. He saw it I was trying to avoid work. He looked at it that, you don't want to do the work necessary. But then I had to explain why I was doing it. People, yeah, there will still be some people that will not understand. That's the truth. There will always be that group that don't understand. But in time, they will come to see that this is it. Let them even see you as sensitive, honestly. Let them even see you as overly sensitive. The point is that you do you understand the value you're trying to protect? What are you trying to protect? Do you really understand it? When you do, you can deal with their thinking you're overly sensitive. Really, it's okay. It's really okay for people to think that. For me, oh, I think it is okay. Let some people think you're overly sensitive. It's your peace you're trying to protect. You're trying to ensure that you don't burn out. When if you keep paying attention to their she's being overly sensitive and you burn out, will they help you? They will not. They will not come to your aid. So please protect your peace. Let them think you're overly sensitive. As long as you pass across the boundary clearly and kindly, you need to think that you're very sensitive. No, this is me. I hope I answered you. I hope I answered you. Okay, Favor says, the true reality that it will happen. I think I'll also need to know myself well and understand the value I'm trying to protect very well and settle with. Yes, that is the truth. That is the truth. If you understand what you're trying to protect, you truly understand what you're trying to protect. No problem. Let them let them think you're being overly sensitive. Let them think you're being overly sensitive, truly. Okay. Let me see. Is there any other comments, any other questions? I hope I answered you because I'm not seeing your response. Yeah. As favor repeated, nobody's going to come to your rescue when you burn out. Not that person that's calling you oversensitive will be the first to blame you for burning out. That person that is saying you're being oversensitive will be amongst the first to blame you for burning out. So no, no, don't because of what would they say? Don't allow yourself to burn out. All right. Um, do we have any other? Okay, I can now see your question. I had to go on my phone to see your question also before. Now I can see it on my laptop. All right. So I think with that, we can end this session. Yeah, I think we can end this session. I can't see any other questions. Okay, okay, also thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you and those that will watch the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, you're the ones that are going to help me go viral. Yes, please do share this link to this video to all your friends who even just know that you think it, even the person you think doesn't need it, you'll be surprised that they actually need it. So send it to everyone. Send this link to every person in your contact. Send it to everyone and do have an awesome day. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram. TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. Yeah, on all the social media growth habits with Ngozi. On LinkedIn, of course, is my name, Ngozi. Where's my full name, Ngozi Chukwuka, in case you see it. Ngozi Chukwuka Onwuchuluba. And Facebook, this is my personal Ngozi Onwuchuluba page. And so I've been trying to go live on the good habits from the good habits page from but this streaming software I'm using for some reason is not working out there. So we'll continue with going live on Dr. Chiloba um, profile on Facebook. So thank you once again for joining me. Thank you, Favor. Thank you, Chechukwu Weibo. I see you on Facebook. Thank you, Uzo Okoli. Thank you, Kelechi. I see you on Facebook. Is there any other person? Oh, thank you, Gunnar. Thank you, Chinele. Thank you, Gloria Joa and Bumi Banisile. Thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. I don't take it for granted. Thank you and see you all next week, Tuesday, 12 noon. Is we're talking about letting go. Remember, being able to prune our relationship. Thank you all so much and have an awesome day. Bye.